Your thoughts here on this game here? What are your expectations? What are you looking to see?
I think since potentially Rapids 2 could be an Open Cup opponent, I think
All right, welcome back to another Linners and Wosers episode. I'm your host, Riccardo Cominelli, and I'm joined here by my good friend, Nick Rosser. How you doing, Nick?
dude, I'm doing okay except for this recent Open Cup news, but I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Hey, the Open Cup news has been heartbreaking for us covering the lower league. We want to see those MLS teams. And yeah, you're right. We're going to go ahead and chat about that here today. We got a lot of fun stuff to yap about. I mean, this is the NOCO Hailstorm FC 2024 season preview. We're going to go ahead and dive into the preseason discussion, the match against Rapids 2 that's coming up this weekend, our experience at the Peak 11 preseason game that we went to watch a few weeks ago. Yeah, Nick said it. We're going to go ahead and talk about the U.S. Open Cup for a little bit there, and then dive into all of the new players that are coming into the team, as well as our thoughts on the first games, which are all on the road. Again, this is Linners and Wosers, a Linners and Wosers lower league podcast, talking about the NOCO Hailstorm FC 2024 season preview. Riccardo and Nick on the mic. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, guys. Well, as we mentioned, the season is just around the corner with the first match of the USL League One season kicking off on March 9th. And that is just a week away here. So we're excited for the season. How are you feeling? I feel like it's been too long this offseason, even though it was like that.
I know it feels like at the same time it's so quick because we're just constantly trying to get like news and information, and every day we're just kind of like in it. But it's been a while since we've seen the boys play, so I'm pretty excited for USL League One ball to be back. NOCO to be
You,
back.
you mentioned it. It's been a while since we've seen the boys play. Last time we went and saw them was the open to the public scrimmage. You had to attend the NOCO Rain crest reveal, but it was against Peak 11 where NOCO Hailstorm came out victorious, and we got to sneak peek at Ethan Horde, the new trialist that we signed, pop off that game, score a handful of goals. Let's just talk. That whole night was amazing. I mean, not only did we go ahead and get to see the crest reveal for NOCO Rain, we got to see 90 minutes of footy, some trialists. We got to see a little bit of how the guys are coming back from an off season, and some of them look like they haven't even lost their touch, which was fantastic. Guys like Bruno and Markey. But we also got to meet some cool people there and interview both Breck Evans and Irvin Parra. You can check out those interviews on the Linners and Wosers lower league Instagram. But Nick, I wanted to go ahead and ask you, share your thoughts. How did it feel, after a few months of no more NOCO Hailstorm games, just going back to the Dome, seeing Casey, seeing Coach Amon, seeing all the players? How did it feel for you?
I just think the whole night was vibes. From the very beginning, we got to meet up with the Box State Footy podcast group, which we'll be podcasting with on Sunday during the game. We also got to meet Matt Pollard from the Burgundy Wave. He's a very nice guy, great guy to talk to, knows a lot about Colorado soccer. Chatting with Eamon and just his expectations for the season. He's really excited. He thinks he's got a really strong group of guys that will definitely fill the void from Arthur and Trevor and Rob from last year. So overall, just the whole night was vibes. Got to speak to also the Peak 11 coach and I think owner, and
Slash general manager.
he just
Yeah.
slash general manager. He's just super. He's a super great guy. Enjoys being around the local Colorado footy scene and just being able to watch a handful of his guys. It wasn't a full Peak 11 team as their season hasn't started. I think they had a tryout process
Yep.
earlier
That same
that
week.
week. So the Hailstorm had a handful of trialists also play against the first team for Hailstorm. So it was just overall a really fun night.
Yeah, and can't believe you left out this part, but we showed up to the Dome and it was clear skies. And when we left at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., it was insane blizzard. I mean, we struggled to get back to Fort Collins. We were
That's
going
true.
5 miles an hour. It's crazy. But you mentioned the Box State Footy fellas. And yes, we got that in store for you guys this Sunday at the Rapids 2 and NOCO Hailstorm preseason match. That's, again, open to the public at the Dome in Windsor. we will go ahead and have a NOCO specific podcast for you guys with the fellas, both Wanners and Dan. Love the guys. Love the shout out they give us. Always nice to see them at Rapids events. And yeah, it's also nice to see Matt Pollard from Burgundy Wave make the trip up to Northern Colorado and bring coverage and see what Hailstorm games are like. Last time I saw him was at I want to say the Union Omaha game when they came here and they got all those penalties and won 3-2. But
Hmm.
that's the past. Let's look into the future. We got this Rapids 2 versus Nokel Hailstorm game. Let's go ahead and chat about that here before we talk about all the preseason games that were passed. Our expectations here, what we're looking at, exactly the style of play that coach is going to go ahead and play. My expectations going into this match, as I mentioned on the USL League One Under the Sea podcast with both Josh and Dan, is that Coach Amon Zayed will probably go ahead and field their strongest 11 just to go ahead and prep again for the beginning of the season, kind of get a look at exactly what it is going to field when we go against Lexington on the road, exactly who our center back partnership is going to look like, what our midfield will look like. Is it three with 1-6 and 2-8s, double pivot, even part of the 10? So go ahead and really be exciting to see the kind of formation that he plays. And then secondly, um, I want to see, a good intense game. But as I mentioned, this is not a US Open Cup vendetta. This is not Next Pro versus USL League One just yet. So although it's going to be an intense match and all this Cold War about the US Open Cup stuff that's going on, go out there, try not to hurt anybody. The season is just
Hmm.
about to start, and both teams um, should be excited for their season. What are your thoughts here on this game here? What are your expectations? What are you looking to see?
I think since potentially Rapids 2 could be an Open Cup opponent, I think we'll see somewhat of the strongest lineup. I know Eamon really cares about that competition as well. But I think, like you said, I don't think the result matters for any team going into this game. I think it's just going to be the last like prep for both teams. Get their guys passing the ball together. Just see if people are tactically in the right positions and working Eamon's tactics out. And same on the Rapid side. They're probably, result doesn't matter. Try to just get the guys touches. So I think overall, I think great amount of touches for all the players and no one comes out hurt is like the best outcome from this game. And just
Exactly.
another like, fun local derby between the two teams because it probably will grow into something in the future. Just the way how MLS Next Pros come into the scene. But yeah, I just think overall it should be just a fun vibe game. Like nobody gets hurt. It's just our final preparations for the season. If it is Open Cup in the future, throw all that out the window, of course. But you know what I mean. This is just preseason. We don't even know if we're playing Rapids 2 or anything like that.
Yeah, well said. And our expectations here for this game is when we go there, we'll definitely take some pictures, some cool videos. But post game, definitely want to go ahead and interview hopefully some of the new guys that just arrived to Northern Colorado. But I did get the chance to meet Kinsey here, communications manager for the Rapids 2. We had a nice discussion. Hi, Kinsey. And hopefully we get a chance to also interview some Rapids 2 guys. We always want to go ahead and expand our coverage on Linners and Wosers lower league and continue to bring the attention to all the teams in Colorado. And with that being said, let's talk about the switchbacks game. I mean, arguably, in my opinion, probably Irvin Parr's best game this preseason. I mean, he was involved in all three goals, scoring 2 and assisting 1. Hailstorm goes into the half down at Wenderfield in Colorado Springs, 3-2 up. We hold off pretty well throughout the second half, making the appropriate substitutions. And then a 90th minute, beautiful free kick that was posted on Switchbacks social media. It was right at the top of the box, nice curled around the wall, tied the game up. So final score was 3-3, but we get another glimpse of the capability of what our team can look like against USL championship caliber team. And this is a team that in the US Open Cup, historically, it's a fact, Hailstorm has clapped 2 times, 2 times. And so they are possibly another opponent we could go ahead and see in the
We
US
do love
Open
you
Cup.
though. We do
We
love
do
you.
love you, Switchbacks. have the scarf. I got nice long sleeve shirt, and my plan this weekend is to go ahead and go watch the Union Omaha versus Switchbacks preseason game that's open to the public. Kind of get an idea of how Switchbacks is going to play this year in the championship, but mostly spy on Union Omaha. So
No,
that game,
absolutely.
yeah.
That game was I think that game was great. I think if you're a Hailstorm fan specifically, you're looking at that first half and you're probably seeing like the strongest lineup we could have put out with all the players present. Um and you're seeing that team go 3-1 up on the Switchbacks. Unfortunate goal to give up right before the half as well. But I'd be confident in that team because the Switchbacks aren't going to be like that. They're not going to be that like far off middle of the I'd say it's like top 5 of the West this year. So
Mm,
I just think it's like a good result to see. You see Irvin Parr scoring 2 goals, getting 1 assist. So he looks excellent. After watching him in the Peak 11 game as well, he looks really in shape. He looks determined, and as he mentioned to us as well, he's got a point to prove to his
yeah.
friends, family, and just people around him, and to himself.
And a handful of the new guys were not available to play against Peak 11. So the switchback game would be the one that they all get in there and start getting minutes under Amon Zayed's system. So even though you practice a lot in training and you get that chemistry there, but how does it relate on the field? So throwing a few of those guys against USL Championship opposition is fantastic. I mean, you get a sense of can they handle USL League One if they can go up against USL Championship opposition. And now we'll go ahead and see the same against Rapids too. Another preseason match that was close to the public was a scrimmage against the University of Denver up at the Dome as well, close to the public. Now, the setup for this match was they played a first half, and after the first half, they went straight to penalties. And then they played a second half, and then they went straight to penalties. So you can see coach there, as well as the head coach of the University of Denver, just kind of go ahead and practice those penalty kicks when they get the chance, because as we mentioned, in a previous podcast and the media roundtables as well, the in season League One Cup that's happening here. If games end in a draw, they go straight to penalty kicks. So it's nice to go ahead and get a view exactly of who are
Yeah,
going to be our penalty kick takers. I
and just
know
hopefully get
playoffs.
adjusted to being in that situation like a lot
Yeah,
more often than it's pretty rare in the sport. So just a lot more often than not.
yeah. I mean, it's also again, you're going against a different opposition. How do you feel against the pressure? I mean, you can take penalty kicks all day at practice, but can they relate to a game? We know the kind of shot stopper Lalo is with penalty kicks, setting the USL League One record for most penalty saves in one season last year with 4. So we know that we have a chance with him on the line. Now I just want to go ahead and see exactly who are the fellas that are stepping up and taking those penalty kicks. I wish they shared with us who it was when they were doing the live tweets. No worries. I would assume Irvin Para, 100% is one of them. My guess is Bruno, the way he can hit the ball.
I would think since it was late in the game, someone with experience. I think maybe like Jake Keegan.
That's what I was going to say. Jake Keegan would probably step up. Brahima, if I'm sure he would go ahead and step up for one. Noah, just a lot of guys in the attack from the midfield. Probably Jackson. He can go ahead and be a guy that can step up. But in the defense, I probably only see Bruno. Maybe if you get deep into the penalty shootout, Lucky Apara will be the first before the rest of the fellas step up. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, the League Cup competition that's happening this year, there are no ties. So if the game ends in tie, they go straight to penalty kicks. So it's really cool to see that. But overall, it was a victory for NOCO Hailstorm, coming out 3-1 victorious against the University of Denver. So again, really nice to get those minutes in there. We talked about Rapids 2. We talked about the Switchbacks game, Peak 11, the DU game that just recently happened. Now, I saw on Twitter here that they posted a random preseason game against Harpos, but I never saw anything followed up with that. Did you see anything followed up with that as well? Was there a
I saw them delete the post.
I
So
thought
right
so.
so right when they posted it, I was like instantly on it because I was like, oh, a game today. I was like, how do I not know about this? Because I don't remember. Maybe I'm being ignorant, but I just don't remember seeing Harpo's on the schedule for
They
our
weren't.
preseason. I think we had 5 games scheduled, and this would be
We had the that random team PSC
oh yeah
Peak
Pro so
11.
or Pro Colorado Academy or just a combine. It's just a combine team.
Yeah.
Peak 11,
Switchbacks.
switchbacks, DU, and then
You
Rapids team.
Rapids.
So I think they might have snuck a closed door friendly, and then they were like, oh no, we don't want anyone to know about this.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you brought up the point that maybe the tweet was deleted because I thought I saw something and then the tweet was gone and I was gonna message you, but then again, I held myself back because the Mountain Premier League dropped their schedule, and when I asked Don Harmon about it, he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about," and the post was gone. So I thought I was having a Mandela effect, and I was like,
Oh my
"Okay,
gosh.
never mind here." But yeah, hopefully, maybe we can get a more information about that this weekend. Was there a game that we missed? Was it keeping it locked? We don't want anybody to
On
know.
the low, that'd be nice because I know from personal chats with just the Harpo's main account that they're really trying to grow and expand on like their footprint within Colorado footy soccer. And I remember tweeting out once being like, hey, it would be really cool if all these teams did like a preseason friendly cup. And then they were like, I think they mentioned saying they want to get something like that going in the future, and they got a lot of big projects coming up. So I wonder if they're trying to get more involved with the pro side of just get involved with more of the pro teams in Colorado because they
I mean, if
are
you,
a cool pub team.
yeah, I mean, if you look at arguably one of their rivals, Azteca, they're still in the U.S. Open Cup, so they're setting the bar. And I think Harpo's as well want to go ahead and get involved, continue to develop great players that maybe one day they can push towards these teams. Um, But that will probably go ahead and wrap up our preseason discussion here until we have that podcast here with Box State Footy. And I wanted to go ahead. I know I mentioned the in-season League One Cup that's coming up. I just want to go ahead and give everybody a refresher exactly of who's in our group. In the group with Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC, we have newcomers Spokane Velocity. Benji, I know I said that right this time. We have Central Valley Fuego, and then Football Heritage, USL League One Heritage. We have Union Omaha.
Absolutely, the West that spreads the whole Louisiana Purchase. So no, it's gonna be really fun. Like, yeah, just to refresh again, it's gonna be top of the group. Winner of the group goes through. Second place, if you want to go through, you're gonna have to score the most amount of goals out of all the remaining second place teams in every group. The final or the semis and the final are gonna be during the fall. And or like mixed around with like late season. It's gonna be a really fun tournament for everyone to come out. A good chance for young lads from maybe other teams to be involved. I know Eamon's probably going to take it seriously because he's hungry for silverware. So
Yeah.
just get ready. Occasionally stick around after games if it's tied because you might see a PK shootout. Don't leave.
Yeah. Well, we'll try our best to go ahead and promote that it's a League Cup competition as well. So, and I know the club will as well. And there'll be so many things at the stadium during the event. Just reiterating that if it ends in a tie, it's going to go straight to penalty. I feel that's going to go ahead and be an announcement that's going to be reiterated over and over and over throughout the game. Another thing I wanted to go ahead and bring up here before we go ahead and jump into our U.S. Open Cup discussion is the ESPN CBS nationalized games for both USL Championship and USL League One that are happening this year. USL League One will get 3. They will get Noco. Unfortunately, will not get one. One of the matches is the USL League One final, which the date is yet to be determined. The other one is the Henny Derby, and then
I think Spokane and
Union
Omaha.
Omaha. Yep.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're looking at those three specific games, the final is going to be, of course, peak interest when it comes to fans. Everyone wants to see a final. Omaha, I would say, are the gold standard when it comes to club culture, club fandom, inclusivity, just
Exactly.
overall, just they could do a little better on season ticket perks. However, I'm shout out to my Owls fans. Um, but no, it's just these are great matches. And then the Henny Derby, created by Yogi. Shout out to Yogi. He does the RVA I think Red City, and he also is just an awesome guy overall. He
On the Walk-in 90 pod as well.
on the Walking 90 pod as well. He created the Henny Derby, and it's just absolutely. If you look at that, that's just how soccer rivalries start. It's the fans getting involved. It's not league force. It's not club force. These are the fans, and they made an absolute fantastic name for it. It's probably gonna make waves throughout, like, just other soccer fans. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
this is the Henny Derby. I'm gonna have to tune into this.
Yeah. If you're wondering what the Northern Colorado Hailstorm derby and who it's against Central Valley Fuego. It is league manufactured. They're calling it the Fire and Ice Derby. We all joke around on the Condom Cup, but yes, it's the Fire and Ice Derby. And this year it's going to be interesting because they will get a new head coach with Jermaine Jones. He cut everybody on his team except for 4 people, as you mentioned on CBS Sports Golazo. So it's going to be interesting to see the new guys coming in and the expectations set by that club. But all I know is that Hailstorm is going to do the double, home and away. We will face them, if I'm not mistaken, June 3rd at home for the cup. And then, man, I remember DMing somebody about this, but then we'll see them later that year uh, for league at home. And then last, we'll play them away. It's like towards the end of the season at their home. So we get to see them twice here in Windsor before we go over there. But that will go ahead again wrap up the discussion on preseason as well as some cool facts that just recently came out that are news with that nationally televised game and the Fire and Ice Derby. So let's go ahead and Nick, let's go ahead and share our thoughts about this U.S. Open Cup. It's not
So
super finalized, but the man who's reporting all this information, Jeff Reuters from ESPN, super credible, and he's been on point. Like he's been on it for the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's the messenger. People shouldn't shoot the messenger, right? But the news sucks. What we kind of get an idea of is that right now, MLS Next Pro teams are going to be in the competition. 8 MLS teams. From my understanding, it's the top 8 that are not in CCC right now, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And I'm just going to open it up to you, Nick. How do you feel about that? And try to use.
I'm actually gonna be I'll probably straight. I think if I'm gonna talk about the Open Cup tonight, I kind of want to just like focus on Hailstorm,
Yeah,
what maybe potentially what they want to get in. If you want to hear me rant about the Open Cup, feel free to tune in to next Wednesday, USL League One Roundtable episode, I think 5. I'm expecting a big crowd there, and then you'll definitely see my rant go off. But I kind of want to focus on now Hailstorm. We went from having a probable opponent to now potentially playing the Rapids reserve team, and that's what I kind of want to focus on. So with the rumors, they're saying the MLS Next Pro teams that you mentioned that would be joining. I'm gonna assume Rapids are gonna be one of them simply because um, they're not going to be those pristine 8 teams that are outside the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I think MLS is going to put in the next best 8 that want in. And then I do assume that the Rapids would want in, but I don't think they're a priority team. So I believe they're going to put in their MLS Next Pro team just by assumption, simply because they won the West last year. Um, they made the semis overall in the playoffs. Um, and I just think they showed that they're strong. They're a strong reserve side that can compete with potentially USL sides. I'm still skeptical on that, but
I mean, I just want to go ahead and point out here. I say it's a total of 8 MLS teams. It's actually this top 7 that are not in CCC because Houston Dynamo, being the winners last year, will automatically go ahead and come back into this competition. Again, as reported lately on Twitter, you can go ahead and we'll throw Jeff's information here. You can keep up to date with all the U.S. Open Cup stuff. But
oh, I just also want to mention
go ahead.
this is not nothing
Fine.
against, like, I mean, I'm obviously you'll know my opinions, but like these aren't the independent teams as well that are going to be MLS Next Pro squads that are going to be entering. We're talking about out of the 11, 9 of them are going to be reserve sides, while 2 of them are going to be those independent teams, or not independent teams, but yeah, those 2 independent teams. I
It
think
is independent.
Carolina and Chattanooga,
Yep.
and then my assumption is also that the first come first serve Next Pro teams are going to be the ones with that are rebranded. I assume they're going to try to keep 2 as far out of it as possible. So I think we're going to see Crown Legacy, North Texas, just other teams because they don't want to complete. I think they're trying to. I mean, I don't want to make assumptions, but these are the ways to bypass PLS or something, like little loopholes and stuff like that.
And can you go ahead and remind to all of our listeners and viewers here who our probable opponents could be in the Open Cup next?
So I'm going to assume we're going to be put in a regional bracket, and it's really hard, just not because I'm not sure on the amateur sides that are around us.
Mhm.
But I'm instantly going to assume Rapids 2 are in simply because they won the West. They were a great team. And Aztec is in. So those are and then Hailstorm. So those are the three Colorado teams specifically going to enter round one. I don't even think you'll see a championship team till round three, actually.
Mhm.
So not sure about that. So I think you're either going to one Colorado team is going to travel. If that's the case, one's going or host. But if you're looking at the three Colorado teams, then it's not likely that one's going to host. So I think if anything, probably Rapids 2 will end up hosting or something at DU or something like that. But I think our probable opponents, yeah, are Rapids 2, Azteca, and then probably New Mexico United based on region. Or not, or they're not even going to be in it. So I don't even know. Probably another amateur team. It's kind of hard to tell who's going to be
Yeah.
in first round for us regionally.
Interesting you say at DU if Rapids 2 were to host. I mean, if the game is on a Wednesday, it could be done at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. But if they do at DU, I think they can get a better attendance.
It would look better, at least.
I mean, it's right in the middle of town, right off of I-25 and University. You don't have to hop on I-25, 225, I-70.
You don't
You
have
know,
to
you
leave
can
the town of Denver to
yeah,
go to the game.
exactly. So it'll be
No, I
interesting to
totally
say.
get
And
it.
mhm.
It'll be. I think it'll be interesting. It's obviously disappointing that it almost has to come to this. According to MLS officials, this is a 1 year thing, and they're gonna try to
Renegotiate.
renegotiate for some new formatted Open Cup. This is probably like last year was probably the last year you guys are gonna have that kind of Open Cup. It's gonna be totally changed from here on out.
I mean, stay positive because we did beat an MLS team. Fault, excuse me, fake Salt Lake after an absolute beauty from our ex-captain Rob, who actually right now, guys, he is out for a while. He got a pretty bad ACL injury with
So
Bohemian. Yeah, and then they went ahead and signed a Rapids center back. They were like, let's
his
just keep shopping
replacement.
in Colorado. Yeah, let's just go ahead and keep shopping in Colorado.
No, I
But
feel bad. I
speedy
hope
recovery for
Rockets
him.
speedy recovery.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't think there's anything else we can go ahead and say here about the US Open Cup. Again, just a reminder here on the format. This is on the website there. Yep. The Hailstorm will join Steca Rapids 2 in the same round. Then there's a round that nobody joins. And then the championship will go ahead and come in. And that's when switchbacks will go ahead and come in. So,
I'm assuming Rapids touring. I'm not totally positive. I still assume they're going to go with the rebranded teams. And
mm.
somehow DC United is not going to participate at all because they do not have a reserve team and they're not going to join the cup. So that's something else I find interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I saw a tweet here by Fabian Rankel. He does a lot of coverage for San Jose Earthquakes, and he asked their head coach, Lucci, I think that's his name, if there's plans for San Jose to go ahead and participate in the Open Cup. And he was practically saying, yes, this is a competition that we're going to be in. So, again, I don't even know what the communication looks like between the owners and the league and everyone, if they're all on the same page. But this is a discussion for next local media roundtable.
Absolutely.
We're just talking about Hailstorm here. We should feel good that regardless who we face, our front office, Casey, as well as our coach, Amon Zaid, are hungry for some silverware. This this is a real competition that we have a good chance in, and we could go ahead and I think make it. If given that we've beaten switchbacks 2 times, if we get into the championship teams, clap one of them, we're
We
practically
can
there.
make a
Just
run.
we can make a run.
Absolutely. And this team, I promise you, Hailstorm fans, this team is good.
Oh yeah, and we can't wait to just go ahead and share more about that after the preseason game this weekend here. But talking about preseason games and U.S. Open Cup and our team, and we keep hyping up the team, but let's go ahead and get to the real stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about the new people coming in, the guys that we've been hyping up. And I got some pictures here that I went ahead and made and shared on the Storm Chasers supporters group Insta, which is doing numbers. I mean, the amount of followers that we're getting from Trinidad and Tobago, love it. Just because Real and Noah and their friends are just reposting, and it's
Just
great.
a
I mean, it's
really
great to
awesome
get new
soccer
fans.
community as well.
Yeah, and so let's go
Football,
ahead and footy, footy.
buddy.
That's where I like to meet in the middle: football, soccer, footy, footy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys, let's go ahead and throw on stage here the new players that are coming into Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC, and that is 9 new guys, including 1 loanee and 1 trialist so far. And let's go ahead and start here with midfielder Patrick Langlois.
So he's coming from the Australian second division.
Yeah.
And as we know, Australia is similar to the U.S. in terms of, I mean, it's not exactly. I think the U.S. has a little more promising lower leagues, but he came from the Australian second division, and he used to play in the first division, for the Newcastle Jets, but it was super hard to find footage of him.
Mhm.
From not the team he was just. I couldn't find any on the team he was just on, but you could on the team before.
Mm.
But he had 0 goals on the team that you could find footage on, and then same team, same league, he scores 18 goals in two seasons. So as a midfielder, so I'm very curious to see how his game translates to
Mhm.
the or just a Hailstorm. But it's really nice that he's part Australian, part from San Diego, so we didn't have to use an international roster spot because he has a U.S. passport, which is very nice, or
Nice.
U.S. visa. So it's very nice for that. So because it seems like we're getting an international talent for the price of a United States player, homegrown.
Yeah. Well said. And I mean, I'm going to be a little bit reserved on my thoughts here. As great as stats are, I do a lot of my analysis on the eye test. So excited to go ahead and see him here Sunday and exactly how he fits into a midfield that I don't know what our starting midfield looks like. So it'd be really interesting to go ahead and see what that will look like on Sunday here against Rapids too. But nevertheless, this is exciting. This is a promising young fella here who can come into the midfield and help our team a lot, especially after we've lost some key contributors to the team last season. But
Mhm.
to our next individual here, super hype, a CONCACAF wonder kid, as hyped by some, a recommendation from our very own Noah Powder, Trinidad and Tobago, uh, attacking winger forward. He's young. I think he's
Electric.
19,
I think he's
19,
20.
20,
He's
20.
20.
Okay.
This kid is extremely electric, folks. This guy, he's already had appearances against the U.S. men's national team. He's a Trinidad international. He's next to be called up. He was a star in the under 20 CONCACAF tournament. He was one of the best players. He's just extremely fast, and he is touted as one of Trinidad's next up and coming like talents. And just the fact that Hailstorm and Casey and Amon and thank you Noah Powder actually
Yeah.
helped bring him over is I think he's going to excite the league in the same way that Ates Diouf on Lexington came into this league
Mm.
and was an absolute stud. I think we're going to see a similar effect because I see him as maybe a similar player, but maybe even more explosive than Ates Diouf. I don't want to say that. I don't want to like put expectations on him like that, but he's just that exciting.
And I know we've got the chance to watch a few video footage of his style of play, and we got really excited. Um, but we haven't been shared a pronunciation list yet. So based on the footage you've seen, how can our fans properly pronounce his full name? Because they've been referring to him as Real, but I want to make sure we get his full name correctly.
I hope it's Real Gil. I assume that's what I heard in all the
Mhm.
videos as well. But hopefully we get a chance to talk to him on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully it's a hard sounding G there, and like the Spaniards have the Gil. No, it's like Real Gil.
It
But
probably is heel as well. But I'm thinking
yeah,
double L. Who knows?
so stick around. This is a very exciting, promising kid who can week in, week out cause troubles for tired opposition, and I think he's going to the lineup. So as he comes on as a sub, we could go ahead and see something exciting in the last 20 minutes of the game,
I
and
potentially
could
think he could
even
win the
start.
starting spot.
Yeah, I
Like
mean it's
eventually.
competitive up there, and we'll see. I mean, if he brings the level, coach is heavily on. If you're performing in the game, you're gonna start. I mean, remember last season, the first few games, Stefan Lukic was starting over Trevor, but then when Trevor came in, started delivering, and then it was like locked.
Absolutely. I mean, not to give away any of Eamon's tactics, but I think the way he's going to have his team set up this year is going to be super attack focused,
Yeah.
but that can transition back on defense.
Mm.
So I think he might mix in on one of those tiny little positions where, let's say, like a wing back.
Mm.
He may not be that wing back, but let's say you throw that Noah Powder up there with him as a right winger, then you're seeing maybe a nice Trinidad connection
Mm.
always going up. Just
Mm.
some I see something potentially like that. I don't want to like say that's what we're gonna do because I have no idea. We've been seeing many different tactics throughout even that peak 11 game. So
Yeah. I mean, one thing's for certain is that set pieces are consistently good.
yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to new signing. We went ahead and signed another goalkeeper here to compete for the spot with Lalo Delgado. This is Russell Sheely here. We did get a little bit of, we got to see a little bit of him warming up here before the peak 11 game. Hopefully we get to go ahead and see if he gets minutes here against Rapids too. But this is exciting that we're bringing in a younger goalkeeper here to push Lalo to his very best, because we do have expectations for Lalo this year to go ahead and be either first team all league, minimum second team all league like last year. Coach praised that he was the best goalkeeper in the league, and bringing in somebody here who can week in, week out be competitive and push him. And worst case scenario, when he needs them to step in, that'll be nice.
And Russell had a good resume last year. I mean, he was the backup keeper at Crown Legacy, but
Mhm.
he knows, from what I can tell, is he can push that starting goalkeeper to their max potential. Because Crown Legacy were excellent last year, and we all know about how deep the Charlotte goalkeeper situation is.
Mhm.
So just the fact that he was able to be even in their goalkeeper ranks show is like to me is like a testimonial to his ability.
Yeah.
Simply because Charlotte is absolutely stacked when it came to keepers, and I think he's going to provide Lalo um uh like just good cover too. I felt like sometimes and I didn't feel like sometimes, but I felt like Lalo maybe had a tiny little niggle with his
Yeah.
shoulder. So I just think sometimes he might be able to give him that necessary rest, maybe potentially a cup game.
Yeah. And he's a big fella. I mean, when we saw, he's a big fella compared to last year. We had Johan Peñaranda, who wasn't as tall as the other two. Uh, this is a guy who can step in the six and demand it, command it, make it his own, and then the box on set pieces, come out, catch that ball in the air, and start that fast-paced attack on our wingers here. Super exciting to have another goalkeeper here join our ranks. So our
Welcome,
next
Russ.
player is Johnny Fenwick here. What can you go ahead and say to our listeners and viewers about Johnny?
I think so. From he had experience at Tulsa and I believe Sacramento. I know Sacramento is a super tough place to break into the
Mhm.
squad, but I know Tulsa he had a lot of he had a lot of quality minutes, and just by watching his highlights, because that's all I really have access to. I don't watch FC Tulsa. I don't watch those other sides. I just kind of watch my own. He seems like a guy he's not scared to go into a tackle. I kind of like those kind of guys that they have that they're kind of brave when they go into their challenge. It just also means they're confident in their own ability, and so I think it's exciting. We lost how many center backs this year? Three
We
potentially,
lost Rob, arguably Arthur, um,
and I would say Leo. So that was
Leo.
three. And so I think he was brought in to do a job, and so I think Eamon sees the quality
Yeah.
to replace such quality players.
Yeah, and he brings that experience at playing at a higher level now onto USL League One, understanding exactly how to command your back line. This is a back line that I predict will hug the sidelines in the attack and join the attack a lot. I mean, that
Mhm.
service that you can receive from both Lucky Opara and Bruno Rendon. So you need guys who are a little bit more conservative, able to stay back and aggressive, making those tackles, not get beat one on one. So our center back situation will be exciting to see exactly what that looks like. Now we have Johnny, we have another one we haven't mentioned here, DG, Breck Evans as well. And so interesting. We're bringing in some quality center backs as well. This is nice. Welcome to the team, Johnny. Oh, there it is. Another defender that is coming to Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC. This is from recently promoted side champions of USL League One, North Carolina FC. This is David Garcia. This is a player that did us dirty in the semifinals.
I was gonna say, if you can't beat them, try to sign their best center back.
Yeah,
And that's I think exactly what we did. So North Carolina, as we saw, got promoted. Um, but I think David's still hungry to compete in the League One, and he's such an excellent player. Uh, just last season, he was on
so
that title
consistent.
winning squad, and yeah, he broke our hearts. He
Yeah.
absolutely shattered our hearts in that playoff game, and I think he scored against us in the regular season as well. He had our number, and just being able to see him on our side of the pitch this time is super positive, and he's extremely talented player. I don't know what else to say about him, but except for that.
I will say that the minute coach laid eyes on him, he did say, "I want him." So he was one of our top. I mean, he was one of his top choices at coming into the club. So he was going into the game knowing that regardless of what happens, this result in the semis, he's going to be a NoCo Hailstorm player next season, and he is. So welcome to the team, David.
Welcome,
Next
David.
on the hype.
I think Brahima is is the mystery player. Okay, I think his resume is extremely exciting, and I don't see ballers in the USL one pulling off the stuff he was trying when he was on Nice's reserve team in France. He also played in, I think, Lugano in Switzerland in the
The
Swiss
Swiss
first
league.
division. He was absolutely crushing it in the in the CAF Champions League. He has
Hmm.
experience playing in the premier competition of Africa. And so on paper, this guy could be the most exciting player in all of USL League One. We haven't seen him. I haven't seen him play in person yet, but just watching his highlights, he's just doing stuff I don't see many League One players at this level doing.
I don't have much to say. I haven't seen anything about him. I'm keeping it reserved. I want to give in to the hype as well, but just can't wait to go ahead and see him play again. Based on papers and highlights, this is a man that week in week out, if he's in form, he will be a threat to every team we go up against. I'm excited. Hopefully, we get to see him Sunday against Rapids too. Welcome to the team, Brahima.
Welcome, Brima.
Oh, we're bringing in, talk about experience. Coming in on loan from One Knox, we're bringing in Jake Keegan. What
Dude,
can we
he
say?
is the League One journeyman. I'm absolutely stoked to have Keegan on this team just to be able to see. It's kind of like having, I don't know, you know who Chris Sutton is? That old Prem forward. He just ended up kind of fall sure around a little bit. Man,
Mhm.
this guy, he reminds me of him. He's just such a he's gonna bag you so many, not so many goals, but he's consistent every season in bagging you a certain amount of goals and
Yeah,
just bringing that leadership. And watching him bang one against Charlotte for Greenville Triumph in the Open Cup was also a delight to see. So I can't wait for. I'm excited for Jake.
yeah. You said it best. We're looking to go ahead and not only replace but up the amount of goals that Trevor set for our club last year. So bringing in a handful of players that can give you an X amount of goals instead of just relying on one is huge. If Jake comes into the club and he's bagging 5 to 6 goals in the competitions that we need those 3 points for a playoff spot or to make the next round of the in-season cup competition, I would say this is a successful loan spell. I'm not gonna lie. Coming in, competing, pushing the guys at the top, they're bagging goals. You come in, make the most of the opportunities, bag goal. This is an
I mean,
exciting veteran, experienced
ideally,
player.
I would love him to come in, hit the ground running, and we make that permanent. Ideally, I would love to keep seeing that experience off the, like, maybe not off the bench, but just in like certain games, and just
Yeah.
keep that kind of going. So I'm really hoping big for Jake Keegan this season.
Excited to go ahead and see you play some more on Sunday, Jake. Welcome to the Hailstorm. Oh, oh, oh. Bring it back. What can we say? Man, Ethan, we got a chance to go ahead and see Ethan Horde play against Peak 11.
Man, I
And
wanted to spill the beans on this guy so bad. I didn't know who he was, but I heard
yeah,
I was going around the grapevine trying my best to figure out who he was, and this guy's exciting. It's gonna be his first professional season, but he just he remi- for his age and just like his talent, I haven't seen people just play like he is as like American players. He's both footed, can win the ball
Mhm.
out of the air,
Mhm.
fast, technical, and he can play defense. He was a dual player at his college. He was a center back and a center forward.
Uh,
Yeah, he when
like
they needed
number
him,
9. Yeah, this is we got to see him score different ways, taking on defenders one on one, being able to win the ball in the air on set pieces and crosses. He's able to go find his space through on goal.
and score
For a
worldies
he's a
too.
tall fella. I'm a tall fella, but he is
He's
a bigger
six
fella than
six.
me, and he's able to move. The way he's able to keep the ball at his feet, move it around, trick his defender, beat him one on one. This is exciting. I'm so glad that we were able to put pen to paper after we got to see him play against Peak 11. I know he
As a
was,
trialist.
yeah, as a trialist, really coming in and making your name heard, telling coach, I want to be part of this team. I can bag you a lot of goals. And he's doing that. He's doing that. This is
Absolutely.
amazing.
I'm willing to put my credibility on the line right here. And I,
Oh,
I, I see maybe not this season, but this kid has Trevor Amon potential of explosion.
I'll be there with you. Yeah.
If you just watch his college highlights, the goals are world class. They're not even just your typical goals. He's doing incredible things, and just watching him in that peak 11, I saw the same thing. And if he can keep getting more experience with our professional boys and more engaged in like the
Hmm.
professional side of it,
Hmm.
he might be a player that can absolutely explode at this level.
We'll go ahead. I think we should go ahead and try to talk to him Sunday. Put him on the top
Absolutely.
of our
Let's
list
go
post
for it.
game. Oh,
Let's go
yeah.
for it.
Welcome to the team, Ethan. Can't wait to speak with you here coming up this weekend. We're already your biggest fans.
Huge
And
fan.
moving on to our last, arguably another
One of the most important.
like he was USL League One top 10 players remaining on the free agency list. This is Isidro Cello Martinez coming in and not only replacing Nordy at the 8, but I think we upgraded. I think we upgraded.
I
This is
absolutely. I think he was touted by Madison fans as a guy that was championship level, and how is he in this league still? So I
well,
I I I think that's enough to be like, they've been around. They've been around since the beginning. Um, yeah, they could be delusional, but I think I still kind of trust Madison fans when they're like, oh man, why aren't like why like they would probably want him on their team, but the fact they're like, we want you in the championship kind of means like this guy's talented. And just I actually do remember watching him play specifically, and he did feature in the switchbacks 3-3 tie. So
hmm.
I think he might be an integral part of Amon's lineup going forward.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think that he's going to have a lot of respect from his teammates that when he does have the ball, let him cook. He is a fantastic player on offense. He provided 43 chances created last year, but he's so versatile and so, again, he's fantastic on offense, but his defensive output is even better. He made 33 interceptions and 32 tackles won last year. So this is an 8 that's box to box, able to provide on offense with all of our attacking talent as well as being on defense, stepping up in transition if we do play a high line or whatever our style is, but making
Hmm.
those tackles in front of our center backs. So very, very exciting. I can't wait to see him cook on the ball. I mean, I think we have a few little magicians on the ball when they get the ball. Uh,
I think
and
this
I,
team's going to be explosive going forward. We might concede a few goals,
yeah,
but this team might outscore you.
yeah. And so that will actually go ahead and wrap it up exactly here with all of the new players that are coming in to the club here. Exciting. We have signed 9 new players, including Jay Keegan on loan and Ethan Hoare here as a trialist. And guys, what can I go ahead and say? We can go ahead and try to hype these players, but until we get to go ahead and see them and give our actual professional and expertise opinion, it's just hype right now. So we get a chance to see that on Sunday here, and then let's go ahead and dive in to starting 2024 on the road. And we go ahead and start with Lexington away, Spokane away, Richmond, Greenville, One Knox, Union Omaha. Those are 6 games before we go ahead and come back and play at home against Charlotte Independence for the cup competition, not even league. Let's talk about the first game. Probably I wrote it as one of Hailstorm's 2 most important games because this is a Lexington team that's been killing it in the offseason, making acquisitions that have only not only strengthened their team, but absolutely upgraded the quality of the team. There's a lot of predictions throughout the league, us media, that this is probably the number one team. I
Ab-
think they're going to go ahead and win the Players Shield in terms of season predictions, and they're going up against a Hailstorm team that finished top 3 last year, lost the MVP, and arguably, in my opinion, USL League One's best player of all time. So how do they bounce back from that? This will be one of those matches that's super
Better than
exciting.
Pepe?
Oh, yeah. Arthur? Yeah,
Better
I
better in
understand.
the league. Better
Yes,
in the league.
yes. Not as an individual. I said USL League One player has ever seen. Pepe representing the United States. I don't want to start because
No.
the forward situation for Nations League, you can only take 2. Is Pepe getting snubbed? That's a different conversation for Linners
Yeah.
and Wosers podcast. not a hill,
No.
not a Hill
To
FC
go
podcast.
on to that first game though, Lexington are. I mean, I'm gonna quote Brian from League One on the Rocks real quick. The championship isn't won in the off season, but low key, if you're looking at Lexington's probable future and where they want to be compared to other clubs, it just seems like North Carolina may have figured out the League One formula last season, building a championship level squad in the League One the season before, and they were by. I mean, I think Omaha had the most incredible form ever, but could they ever repeat 41 points out of 43 remaining? Not sure. Um, or something like that. I don't think the math actually adds up that way, but I'm just saying like this could be the formula. So I think like I said mentioned in the League One roundtable before, the pressure's on Lexington rather than like the other
Yeah.
clubs. But this absolutely could be the formula, and it's gonna be daunting for Hailstorm to approach the season going to their home first, knowing you need to get it done. So not get
There's
it
a lot
done,
of
but
yeah,
we're looking at this season now as a 22 game season with a balanced schedule,
yeah.
and so every game matters that much more. So you
Mhm.
can't have really drop offs.
There's a lot of also outside factors that are off the field that could go ahead and play into account. I mean, teams historically in every league, when the league starts, they still got that preseason jet lag. They don't fully understand what their starting 11 is. Their chemistry's not fully down. So,
It actually could be the correct time to play them away as well.
e
First game of the
exactly.
year, those nerves.
Yeah. Let's go and just want to go ahead and mention again who we're playing against after Lexington. Spokane Velocity away, a team that some people we
Might
don't
be
really have a
sneaky.
full yeah we don't really have a full understanding of who they are except for maybe the Spokane Soccer Show Benji, who's gotten a lot of uh,
Well,
viewing of them. But
some respectable coaches around the league.
yeah, I was gonna
They
say
don't they don't assume last place or like second to a last place.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I think we can maybe assume from there.
Yeah, based on their opinions as well. I was gonna say they also don't predict them coming last. I don't either. I like to, in my predictions, I think there's some
I give
teams
them
that are
the I give them like the last playoff spot snub miss just because I'm bitter about hailstorms
yeah.
in our
I
first
mean,
year.
yeah. Who knows? They could do like St. Louis City did in MLS last season and get the Players Shield. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I was listening to an interview their coach made on the Spokane Soccer Show. They're looking to play full on attacking footy. So again, this might be the right time to go ahead and play them early in the season. They're trying to figure out their image. Greenville and Richmond, I think those guys did not move me over the summer. I think they're still going to be middle of the pack at most. And expectations here for our
Which
Hailstorm
to
team.
me is shocking just for honestly Greenville. You're talking about a team that consistently was making finals year after year, or at least in the running. And I kind of see them like I'm newer to the league still. This is gonna be my third season in the league. And out of what, six? This is gonna be the
Yes,
seventh.
2019.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, but I see like this team not inspiring this year for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and then again, we see One Knox, and then we see Union Omaha, and Union Omaha, we know the kind of team they are, what kind of team they can be at home and away. That's also going to go ahead and be a huge match. Uh, as we get closer to the season, we'll go ahead and talk a lot more about those games. Right now, it's just
Let's
let you
We
know
got
right
also
now.
got to put in perspective. We're used to this.
Yeah.
We're so used to this being road warriors to start the
On
season.
the road, FC.
On the road FC. Let me actually point out our all time away record. Just so you know that we have our all time away record against anybody. US Open Cup, everyone is 14 wins, 12 draws, and 10 losses. So Hailstorm's more than likely coming to your place and taking points. So when I say we're road warriors, we're used to this. We're used to this mentality of we can get it done on the road. We have more wins than losses. We have more ties than losses on the road.
I just want to joke here and say, yeah, Hailstorm will come to your baseball field and get it done. But that will go ahead and wrap up. Just to give you a snapshot of what the beginning of the season looks like, it's away until we come back for the League Cup competition. The expectations is that we will be playing. The expectations are that we will be playing at Ticket Socket Park come May 25th. But worst case scenario, at least we have Four Rivers Equipment Stadium. That's the new name of
Yep.
the turf soccer baseball hybrid field that they play outside. So it's always nice to go ahead and have a backup plan. And you guys
It's a
remember
great place. Great place.
our first ever home match at Future Legends Complex. We came out victorious 4-1 against Central Valley Fuego. So can we go ahead and repeat that history with a new stadium? Oh yeah,
Can I just throw something in real quick?
do it.
Shout out to we have a brand new outlet for USL Championship.
Yeah.
Follow the Black Blue outlet on Twitter. It's ran by Adam Weiss of the Linners and Wosers team. He's going to be supplying you all the best or all news about switchbacks and their former players, and just give you constant updates about that team. Linners and Wosers, we're going to slowly start branching out. We're going to do obviously natural growth when it comes to covering more and more teams and just trying to get the local. I mean, we want to be local. We want to be involved in your pickup scenes in your state. We want to just see what makes your state tick, what makes that soccer culture go. And so now we have a brand new USL Championship Colorado Springs team. We have I believe no, two USL League One teams. We have a USLW League outlet. We have Premier League, La Liga,
We have
Bundesliga,
3.
Serie A.
Hell yeah, Lexington and Omaha.
Oh yeah, we have three. So we have three. We're gonna slowly branch out. Hopefully by the end of this year, add a couple more. So just make
Mhm.
sure to follow at LW Outlets. It's the number one place to see every outlet post. If you just want to see your specific team, it's still a good location to go find them. Then follow the
Follow them.
outlet,
Yep.
and then boom, you're set on all things your team.
Well, guys, as we go ahead and wrap up here our show, I wanted to go ahead and ask you guys to leave a like, subscribe, share. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But if on this video, go ahead and share with us, your USL League One 2024 season predictions. And we'll go ahead and give them a shout out here on the next local media roundtable here. Go over them. We'd love
Absolutely.
to hear our fans' opinions. We'd love to engage with you. Any comments, any questions you have, send them our way. We will be more than happy to go ahead and get that information from you. You want to know something about a player? You want us to
Oh,
ask a question? Let us know. I'll go
let
up
us
and
know. We
ask.
have, and
Yeah.
we also have. Just realize you guys can use Linners and Losers as an access to speaking to other media members of the roundtable. Those guys are more than happy to tell you any information about their team. And also, yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that Wednesday episode of the episode 5 of the USL League One local media roundtable. It's just such a fun hoot with those guys. So.
Boo. Boo. Well, guys, as always, Nick, it's been a pleasure doing another podcast with you, but especially doing the Noco Hailstorm podcast. I feel like we are breaking it down to a minute here, to an hour here, but we could talk days. I'm
Days.
talking days. So this has been exciting. You guys can go ahead and give us a like, follow on Linners and Woozers on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We also have the Linners and Woozers lower league account on Instagram and X. Check out our website here for articles and up-to-date events that we're going to, an updated calendar where we'll be, things we'll cover. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys at the first home match. Get to meet all the fans, and we get to practice the Hailstorm. It'll be
Yeah,
cool.
we'll
A
we'll
bunch of
try
people
it in. We'll try to get
stomping.
it
Yeah,
going.
We'll try to get it going.
And if you are a Hailstorm fan, right? Actually, before we sign off, if you want to join the supporters group, we are both involved in the supporters group. Reach out to us on X. Reach out to at Storm Chasers SG.
And Instagram.
And if you want to actually be like really involved, we're happy to add board members, just people that want more positions to really grow the team, really grow the game.
Well said. Well said. Well, guys, it's Riccardo here with Nick, Linners Wosers. Thanks for tuning in. Ciao, ciao.